Why were people thinner in the 60s and the 70s? How you doing, everybody? Now, I was reading an article. I saw an article about the obesity rate in the 60s and 70s compared to now. And I found it quite interesting because anybody that has been around the channel, they know that I've been on the carnivore diet now for a little over a year and a half. And I'm trying to not only lose weight, but become a bit more healthy. So I was checking out this article. I found it interesting. And if you think about it, you know, it is kind of true, because back then in the 60s, the obesity rate was 13%, as opposed to now where it's near 50% at the rate of 43%. So 43% of Americans are considered to be obese. Now, there was a lot of other stats and charts and graphs and things about portions and caloric intake and the food chart back then, which for some reason changed now and it's all different and everything. But I'm not going to bore you with all that scientific and medical mumbo jumbo stuff. I'm going to tell you what I think and why I think, because I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I was born in the very, very early 60s. So I came up through the 60s and the 70s. So I'm going to tell you why I think people were thinner back then. And the first thing that comes to mind is we ate at home. We had home cooked meals. Now, sure, there was things, you know, like TV dinners and stuff started to come out then, but they were for, you had them around for convenience and for quickness. If you wanted something quick and you wanted to do something, you just threw that thing in and did. But for the most part, we had home cooked meals. It wasn't a bunch of garbage, and we very, very rarely went out to eat outside the home. And if we did, we went to a restaurant, not some fast food joint and gobbled up garbage. And now once in a while, but I mean, again, we had home cooked meals, and it was stuff that nowadays some people say you shouldn't eat. We had, you know, meat and potatoes, and you know, we had roast beef or steak and mashed potatoes and gravy and corn and peas and just butter bread with our meals and all kinds of stuff. But we sat down as a family and ate meals. And then the other thing about our food too back then is, and now I'm not going to say we didn't have processed food, but it wasn't heavily processed food like now, and it definitely wasn't filled with these health destroying hormones and everything that they pump full of everything, beef and chicken and everything. And even vegetables are cross-contaminated and hybrided and did all kinds of things to take out seeds and do this and make them bigger. So we ate food. We shopped at markets and grocery stores and farms and farmers markets, and we got stuff that was grown and not just a bunch of junk pumped full of God knows what, like we eat now. Another thing is people actually worked. They went to work. They were garbage men, firefighters. They worked in the steel mills. They were construction workers. They worked. They went out. They got up in the mornings, they got their little breakfast, and they went out and they worked. Now, not saying that people didn't sit at desks, but they worked. And even stay-at-home moms, they were on the go all day long. They were running around, taking kids to school and picking them up from school, taking them to soccer practice, cleaning the house, taking care of the babies, doing this, everything. They were just on the go all the time. I mean, don't even say, oh, well, people, yeah, sure, there are some people that work now, but look, right now we have people crying and throwing a fit and making tickety-tocks about They want me to put on my clothes and leave my house and go into the office to continue to work. And if I don't, I'm going to get fired. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the kind of people that we have. Yeah, sure, there are people out there that work, and then they go home and do what? Nothing. What do? They grab their phones. They get on their computers. They watch YouTube videos. Watch this one. Keep watching my channel. But yeah, it's not like before. Kids went outside. If your mom said you have to stay in, that was a punishment. You're not going out. What do you mean? Now you can't even push a kid through a door to put them outside. No. They're more interested in, again, their phones, their laptops, their tablets, their video games, their everything. They just want to sit on their asses and do as little as possible. You used to ask kids back then in the 60s and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a policeman. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a cowboy. I want to be an astronaut. What do they want to be now? I want to be a TikTok star. I want to be a famous YouTuber. I want to be an Instagram hoe. I want to be an OnlyFans hoe. That's what people want to do. So yeah, the only time they go outside is so they can go out into the wild and disturb everybody else by setting up their cameras in the gym or in the middle of the street so they can do their little TikTok dances and then get pissed when people walk by their cameras. That's the extent of them going outside. So, I mean, it was different. People actually did things. Sleep. Sleep is a big thing. If you don't get enough sleep, it does affect your weight. It affects all kinds of things. Back then, kids, especially when you were a kid, you had a bedtime. We had school clothes too. Remember that? You get up, you put on your school clothes, and you go to school. When you came home, get out of your school clothes before you go outside and play. And you changed clothes and you put on your crappy stuff and you went out and you played in the dirt and the mud and you did all kinds of stuff. Then you came in for dinner and you sat down for dinner. Then you could go out a little bit longer, but you better be home before the streetlights come on. And then you went inside. You had some family time, maybe watch some TV. And then you had a bedtime. You took your bath, shower, whatever, and you got ready and went to bed. And that was the other thing. TV. Remember the little thing that used to pop up and say, boop, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? And TV shut off. Programming stopped. So there wasn't a big white screen to stare at all night long to keep you awake. So people got sleep. They got up in the morning, even your parents, because they had work to do. They had to get up at a certain time. They had to get ready to go to work. If mom was a stay-at-home mom back then, it happened. Then she had to get up and get dad's lunch ready and get him off to work, get the kids ready to get them either to school or shushed out the door so they could catch the bus. And then she was going grocery shopping and maybe hang out with a couple other friends, take the little one if they had a wee-in out and walk around the neighborhood, go to the park, run the vacuum, do the dishes, all that good stuff. Cook dinner. So when everybody came home and got off the bus and dad came home from work and everything, there was dinner. And so she was moving and going and constantly. But people now, what do? They sit on their ass. They pick up their phone. They call Uber Eats and they get garbage delivered to the door. And then they go, oh, they're here. I have to get up and walk over to the door so I can put this shit in my face, stuff my pie hole. Or they're going to McDonald's or other fast food places to get breaded, deep fried garbage that you don't know what it is, how long it's been back there, how long it can survive because it's so full of preservatives and everything else that the FDA puts a big old good old stamp on that says, yeah, it's okay. But back then we ate food. We had real food. We had real whole milk from a cow, not from an almond. So that's what I think people are or were thinner. We ate together at home and had a good home cooked meals, and you knew what was in it because mom made it. She went to the store. She bought the stuff. She picked it out. She cooked it. We knew what it was, and it was good, and we ate as a family. We were active. Everybody, the adults were active. The children were active. We went outside. To be stuck inside was a punishment. We hated rainy days. We liked snow days because we got off school, but we hated rainy days. We didn't want to be stuck inside, unlike now. And even if we did eat kind of bad stuff, junk, our sugar-filled cereals and our carbs with all our pasta and everything else and our bread that we ate, we worked it off. We went outside. We ran. We jumped. We played games. We played hide and seek. We rode bikes. We did all kinds of things. We were always on the go. And then we were tired and we came home and we went to sleep and we got good, deep sleep for at least 8 hours. And we woke up refreshed and ready to go. But now it's a whole different thing. It's entirely different. So that's why I think things have changed. And plus they changed everything out of the blue. Like, again, the food pyramid, it's not what we had. It's different now. And this medicine, just take a pill. And it was, blood pressure was this. Now it's lower. You have to meet a better standard as people get bigger and fatter and eat more unhealthy food that they keep shoving down our throat. And we have no choice because that's what they sell us. Even if you try to eat healthy, it's still garbage. It's still pumped full of all kinds of stuff. And they make us bigger and fatter and slower. And don't do this. Here, go to AI and have it do it for you. And just sit down and watch this. And it streams 24 hours a day. You don't have to worry about it. If you missed it, see, we had a time. The TV show was on at 7. If you weren't there at 7 in front of the TV, you missed it. Now you can watch anything whenever. And you can stay up all night. And you can just sit on your ass and play video games or stare at a phone or stare at a tablet. It's not the way it was. And they just tell you, oh, well, what? This hurts? Take a pill. That hurts? Take a pill. Come on in. Oh, this is too high. Let's lower it. Well, back then, the numbers that we have now that they say, oh my God, it's so high. That was normal. Everybody was like that. I don't know. But that's my opinion. And like always, you don't have to agree with me at all. But leave me a comment below. What do you think? I know I got some folks in here that are my age. I know you guys grew up in the 60s and the 70s. What do you think is the difference? Why do you think people were a lot thinner and more active and weren't stuffing pills down their throat all day, every day? Why do you think it's so much different than it is now? But yeah, again, you don't have to agree with me. That's never the point. The point is...
This is BlindViews, and that's how I see it.
What we do here is go back.